A compromise may be in the works for a controversial policy that would require church-affiliated employers to cover birth control. The Catholic Church and some Republicans have called President Obama's policy an attack on religious freedom. Tommy Andres has more on an alternative solution.
The Obama administration is trying to quiet the uproar over its birth control mandate. The new rule would require all employers, including religious schools, hospitals, and charities, to offer birth control under their health care plans. Churches and other houses of worship would be exempt.
What they're saying is, it's okay for you to not include things that are morally repugnant or violate your conscience if you're only serving the members of your church. But if you go out and help people who may not be members of your church, then you have to cover this. So think how absurd that is.
The Catholic Church has slammed the new rule as an attack on religious freedom. But a recent poll shows that 58% of Catholics agree that birth control should be covered. Supporters say that's because the real issue is about women's access to health care.
This is an issue of women's health, and I think that Catholic Charities believes very deeply that it's important that women get the health care they need.
The White House has signaled it's willing to compromise with religious institutions.
We want to work with all these organizations to implement this policy in a way that is as sensitive to their concerns as possible.
Senior administration officials say policymakers are now looking for an alternate solution, including allowing employers to purchase contraceptive coverage directly from insurers. I'm Tommy Andres reporting.
28 states already have similar coverage requirements. The new policy goes into effect on August 1st, but religious groups will have a year-long extension to enforce the rule. Americans that owe more on a house than it's worth may be in luck. Some of the nation's largest banks have reached a settlement with the federal government in a lawsuit about improper foreclosures.
Today, the Departments of Justice and Housing and Urban Development, along with 49 other state attorneys general and other federal agencies, have reached a landmark $25 billion agreement with the nation's 5 largest mortgage servicers: Bank of America, J.P. Morgan Chase and Company, Wells Fargo and Company, Citibank, and Ally Financial, which was formerly GMAC. This agreement reflects our commitment at both the federal and state levels to ensure justice and to recover losses for victims of reckless and abusive mortgage practices.
At least $17 billion of the settlement is expected to go to cutting the principal owned by people who are behind on their mortgages. People who are underwater but are current on their mortgages will be able to refinance their current loans at a lower rate, but they likely won't see their principal cut. Hocking College just went through a periodic review by the Higher Learning Commission. A report said that the college is deficient on 3 of 5 criteria for accreditation. Here to talk with us about the report is Hocking College President Ron Erickson. President Erickson, thanks for being here with us tonight.
Thanks, Katie. It's great to be back.
Yeah. Now, the Higher Learning Commission issued a report recently that, according to a published report, raises red flags at Hocking College. Is the college in accreditation trouble?
Well, the good news is it isn't. And some of the reports that came out were actually inaccurate. When you read the report fully, you'll realize that we met all 5 criteria that we are supposed to meet by the Higher Learning Commission. What we did, however, receive from them was some actions that they recommended we take in the near future in order to address some of the issues that they discovered.
So have the concerns been resolved, and if not, when will they be?
Sure. They basically fall into a couple categories. One was board governance. They cited our recent conflict last year at the college between the Board of Trustees and my office, and I'm really very pleased to say that we've already taken steps in that direction to resolve it. The board and I just went through policy governance training just last week, in fact, which was facilitated by the Association of Community College Trustees. Had a wonderful workshop with them, and we're off to a very good start. Shared governance is also an issue that was raised, and we've got a number of new committees that we're setting up at the college to address that issue. And the buildup of a healthy financial reserve. This was an issue that we had over 10 years ago, actually, when they visited us last, and we're still working to really build that reserve to a healthy level. But the good news is that we did not fail the criteria, but we have some work to do.
Now, another published report said enrollment is down at Hawking.
And again, I'm afraid the facts are not quite right. Some published reports put us at a drop of 18.5%. That was just a case of bad mathematics. The fact is that we are currently just under a drop of 9%, about 8.76%. And while that isn't the direction we like to see enrollment going, it's not terribly uncommon to see that kind of drop across Ohio public colleges.
Now, how about the projected budget shortfall? Is that being worked out?
It sure is. I've got a tremendous team of people helping me look at the projected deficit based on enrollment drops and a drop in state aid as well. We're currently projecting about a loss of $2.9 million, but we think that we'll be able to actually weather that storm quite nicely with a number of actions that we can take to streamline our operations and become more efficient.
Now, just briefly, you've had some labor unrest on campus, not being able to work out a new contract with your support staff. What's the latest on that?
Well, it's always a frustrating situation when you can't settle a contract with a bargaining unit, and I can't speak in depth about it right now because negotiations are ongoing. Suffice it to say that with shrinking state support, we have to look at new tools in order to really maintain the bottom line. We certainly understand that they have their needs and their issues as well, and I'm really encouraged by the fact that negotiations are ongoing, and I hope for a settlement soon.
Absolutely. Well, President Erickson, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Always a pleasure, Katie.
Thank you. And on Wall Street today, demand for Treasuries weakened after Greece moved closer to a deal that would prevent the country from defaulting on its debt. Here's a look at some stocks of local interest.